He now goes by the name Dirty Dom. Some call him ex-con Dom. Yeah, that's not too believable. He's simply the most despicable, spineless, hateable man in all of the WWE. Dominik Mysterio is one of the top villains in all of pro wrestling. But before he became the incredible character that he is now on this run in his still very young career, a lot of people had lost favor in the son of a lucha legend. How did it all turn around for Dirty Dom? Nobody is claiming that Dominik Mysterio is going to be a guy who had to go the hard route to get to WWE. No, there was no toiling on the independent circuit for Mysterio, as he was the son of Rey Mysterio, the greatest masked wrestler of all time. He had the front door entry for him. The word nepotism is an understatement when it comes to what is going on with Dominik Mysterio. But can you blame him? The guy was raised by Rey Mysterio. He has that pedigree. Getting into the WWE maybe shouldn't be a hard thing for him, as he was a kid on camera on national, international television at the very young age. Yeah, remember when he was playing the role of the kid who was maybe Eddie Guerrero's son, but was actually Rey Mysterio's son? That was in 2005. And he played a supporting role in a big ladder match at SummerSlam. Yeah, he was bound for WWE stardom then. But that doesn't stop the old, your dad's in the business tag from being put on him. There have been many superstars who've gone on to greatness and overcome the second generation superstar tag, but only some have thrived in the spotlight. Some of your all-time favorites like Cody Rhodes, his father, the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, The Rock, his father, Rocky Johnson, and Randy Orton, his father, Cowboy Bob Orton. They've all overcome nepotism, while some, like Charlotte Flair, have also overcome it in many different ways, proving that they are greats in their own right, not just because of their last name. Dominik seemed to be set on a slightly different path, debuting in WWE, debuting in pro wrestling in general at SummerSlam 2020 in a challenging scenario of no fans in a major match on a major pay-per-view against Seth Rollins, who was embroiled in a long, very personal issue with his father, Rey. But after putting on the match of the night in his debut, even Vince McMahon gave him the nod of approval, telling him that even people who wrestle for years weren't able to get the same type of reaction. But he would soon realize that just being Rey Mysterio's son wasn't going to cut it to make it big week to week in the machine that is WWE. He spent a good part of the first 2 years by his father's side. The two even became a father-son duo, winning the WWE Tag Team titles. But that was short-lived, and beyond that, there wasn't too much electricity behind Dominik on WWE television. The biggest issue, some claim, was his lack of pronounced personality. People also began to see that maybe he was just piggybacking off his father's name and wasn't doing him any favors. If anything, it was the opposite. WWE figured by 2022 that the partnership had run its course and began to engineer a slow-burning build-up to ending a father-son alliance. Rey Mysterio has never once turned heel in his WWE career, and given his incredible merchandise sales and generations of fans who stand by him, it's hard to see any incentive in doing that. But with Dominik, his son, it seemed like there was a different path set for him. Dominik truly stepped out of his father's shadow when he was at ringside for him and his longtime ally Edge, taking on the still finding their way heel faction of the Judgement Day at Clash at the Castle in Cardiff, Wales. And although Mysterio and Edge won the match, the turning point came when Dominik attacked Edge before taking out his own dad, cementing him as a bad guy, while a defeated Finn Balor laughed on hysterically. During Dominik's feud with the Judgement Day before he joined, there was a clip that went viral of him being strangled between Rhea Ripley's legs, something that turned out to be a surprising catalyst for their on-screen, heavy innuendo, demented romance. Is it a romance? It's a bad romance. Cue the Lady Gaga song. When Dominik finally joined the Judgement Day in September of 2022, nobody would have thought that he would have been the final missing piece in a puzzle. This was a faction that already had some established names. Finn Balor was in this group, and although there was a lot of skepticism about the direction of the purple and black faction with Edge starting it and then getting kicked out of it, this new rendition of the JD was better than the original. Dominik gave fans a reason to hate the group. He was a coward who turned on his family and then was manipulated by a truly out there gothic demonic woman in the form of Rhea Ripley. Yeah, all you simpy fans drooling over the suggestive non-PG nuances of her performance, we know you're pausing the video. While he was a stereotypical heel in the sense of cheating to win matches and insulting the crowd, Dom took extra measures to make himself as despised as possible. The rest of the JD felt cool. They felt like cool villains, with Finn Balor being the veteran main event star, Damian Priest fitting the role of a rising, dominant, tall, big force, and Rhea Ripley becoming an unexpected enforcer at ringside, and the closest we've ever seen in the modern generation of someone like Chyna in 2 decades. Dominik, on the other hand, he wasn't cool. There's nothing very cool about him. He still found a perfect way to be a part of the faction, and in no time, his disingenuous kind of reinvention of himself as a street thug along with Rhea Ripley made them both the most important parts of the Judgment Day. I don't think anyone thought it was going to play out that way. But what really made Dom hated was his repeated attempts to sabotage his father's life, invading the family home on Thanksgiving and berating him, then doing it again on Christmas, only for the cops to arrest him and put him in county prison. This gave birth to the term ex-con Dom, a persona where he had a little teardrop drawn on his face and pretended like he was toughened up from the prison. Yeah, he was like Prison Mike from The Office. Even in the kayfabe presentation of the story online and on television, he was only in county prison for like an hour or two, but the hilarious fake tough guy thing worked so well. It didn't help at all that Rey refused to lay a single hand on his son. In the months of torture, agony, and assaults played out in the ring, but on social media, we got more ridiculous segments with another holiday, Valentine's Day. It reached another tipping point when Dom and Rhea just so happened to be dining at the same romantic restaurant as Rey and his wife Angie, forcing the two to leave. Dominik thought that he was the most wanted man on TikTok after he fled the restaurant, and Rhea was forced to pay the bill. Although she was not happy about treating her man, he represented everything that people hated about a human being. Come on, dude, pay the bill. Dominik and the Judgment Day continued their path of antagonization of Rey, and it all built to a head in one of the satisfying moments of 2023 on SmackDown, when Rey saw himself pushed too far by his son Dominik, who went off on his mother and Rey's wife Angie at ringside, telling her to shut up. That broke Rey's vow of not laying a hand on his son when he slapped the crap out of him and threw down the gauntlet for WrestleMania, father versus son. The story got a lot of traction heading into Mania, and WWE broke from the established path of having a Hall of Famer who's getting inducted not really have a match. Rey Mysterio was the lead inductee for that year's Hall of Fame class, and he was going to have a big match on the WrestleMania show against his son. But during Rey's Hall of Fame speech, Dominik, along with Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest, refused to give him a standing ovation and walked out as his speech got going. That's how much of an impact Dominik's character had, how big of a story it was, with Rey Mysterio getting the last laugh and a huge win over his son at WrestleMania 39 in Los Angeles. Over 5 years ago, I interviewed Rey Mysterio, and he said this entire stage of his career that was in front of him was to set up his son Dominik for success, and he clearly got to do that with a special WrestleMania moment with his son that included him beating his son with a belt. Dominik didn't win the Mania match, but he didn't need to. He was defined, cemented, and elevated as one of the most over villains in all of pro wrestling. Although in character Dominik hates his father, Rey Mysterio did a fantastic job of elevating his son to becoming one of those most talked about superstars. In less than a year, Dominik went from being considered slightly low-card, almost irrelevant in the shadow of his father, to being one of the most entertaining parts of WWE on TV by himself. Everyone wants to smack Dominik in the face. Everyone, from the diehard fans who are keyboard warriors on the internet to the kid who's holding up his action figure of his favorite wrestler at the TV. They all want to kick Dom's ass. And that is proof positive that he is indeed the heel he really wants to be. It took him a while to get there, but once the wheels were in motion, he quickly proved where he belonged, the plays he could play, and that why his legacy is going to be his own, not just a mask he assumes from his father. Maybe we get to see that at some point. What do you think of the future of a babyface Dominik Mysterio? Does he return to being a valiant hero, or continue having the old demonic Rhea Ripley whisper in his ear? Yes, corrupted minds want to know. Get in the comments below.